Hi, Karen here, and today I'm telling you how to make a benchmark in 6 easy steps. But first, benchmarking is a comparative analysis of the performance of your company, product, service, or strategy in comparison with your competitors or other companies. It enables you to determine your level of success or efficiency by comparing your performances with those of other companies. The aim is to evaluate your performance and find out whether you need to improve it, innovate, or catch up with your competitors. There are 4 types of benchmarking. You have the competitive benchmark, which consists of making a comparison with your direct competitors. Internal benchmarking, where you compare different departments or teams within your company. Functional benchmarking, where you compare a specific function of your company, such as customer support, with that of other companies, even if the company doesn't belong to the same sector. And finally, the generic benchmark, which, unlike the competitive benchmark, consists in broadening the comparison to include companies not directly related to your field, but which may offer practical or innovative ideas. Okay, now that you know more, let's talk about how to make a benchmark. I'll show you how to do one in general, but of course, it's up to you to adapt it according to the type of benchmark you want to do. The first step is to clearly define your objectives. You need to focus on the specific aspects you want to measure. I can't define your objectives for you, but to help you define them, I recommend identifying the specific areas of your company where you want to improve performances, setting measurable, concrete objectives such as increasing your company's market share or reducing costs, identifying the expectation and needs of your company's key stakeholders, and of course to clearly communicate the benchmark objectives to all concerned. For step 2, the aim is to identify the KPIs that you can measure and compare with your competitors, or benchmark companies, or between your departments. These KPIs will be your benchmark for assessing your own performance and identifying areas where improvement can be made. Of course, the KPIs you evaluate depend on the objective you've defined. For example, if your objective is to improve your customer satisfaction, KPIs could include the customer satisfaction rate, number of complaints, response time, all that sort of thing. In any case, you need to consider their relevance, feasibility, and ability to provide an overall view of your company's performance. Once you have identified the KPIs, you need to find out who or what you're benchmarking against. If you're doing an internal benchmark, I imagine you already have an idea of departments or teams you're gonna compare, in which case you're not really concerned by this step. For other benchmarks, you'll need to take several criteria into account when deciding with whom or what you're gonna compare your KPIs. First of all, even if you don't want to turn into a particular competitive benchmark, your competitors are still your best point of comparison. They're in the same business sector and offer similar products or services to yours. So think about selecting at least one competitor into your benchmark. Of course, if you're operating in a local market, remember to choose competitors in the same area. Next, you can focus on companies that are recognized for their excellence, but also innovative practices or success in specific fields. You don't have to limit yourself to your own domain unless that's your goal. On the other hand, you should take into account the size of your competitors and the companies you selected. If your company is just starting out in backpacks, you're bound to be disappointed if you compare yourself to Eastpak or Samsung in terms of daily output. So try to choose companies of your own caliber or take the KPIs of big companies less seriously. And above all, make sure that the data you want to compare is available, because if it isn't, you won't be able to analyze these companies. Now comes the essential step: data collection and analysis. This means identifying relevant data sources. This could be financial reports, market research, surveys, annual reports, or internal data. Don't forget that you need to use appropriate methods to collect the data. You can't illegally break into your competitor's office and steal their files. On the other hand, you can use surveys if it's an internal benchmark, or search online for those famous annual or financial reports. In any case, once you've collected the data, you can do the analysis. It could be a comparison of financial ratios, SWOT analysis, or whatever, depending on your objectives. In any case, you need to identify the performance gaps with your company. After that, it's up to you to interpret the results. Is this negative gap justified? Can the KPI be improved? Unfortunately, I can't give you much guidance for this, as it depends on your objectives, the companies you choose, etc. There are too many parameters involved to give you specific details. In any case, don't be too hard on your company when interpreting results. And above all, look for all possible reasons for the performance gaps. Once you've come up with ideas for improvement, you need to define an action plan to implement them. There are 5 steps to follow. You need to prioritize the key areas where improvements are needed based on their potential impact on your overall performance and the achievement of your objectives. You need to set new, clear, and specific objectives that are measurable and achievable within a given time frame. Next, you need to break down each improvement into several steps and identify the resources needed to implement them so that you have a total plan for achieving your goals. Once you've identified all the steps, you'll assign responsibilities to each member or department in charge of each action. And finally, I recommend that you set up a monitoring system to regularly assess progress against your objectives. Most of the work is done, but the last step is still the most important. It consists in regularly measuring and analyzing your company's performance against those chosen earlier, whether with the same data as before or updated data. To get a clear view of this data, you can set up an Excel spreadsheet, a Notion, or any other software where you feel comfortable, which you'll update with the new data. This will enable you to see how the gap between the two results evolves with the implementation of your action plan, and also whether future improvement is required. If you're just starting out in business, you may be wondering how it's important to make a benchmark. After all, you don't have much data to compare. Or if you do, you'll find that your benchmark reveals many areas of improvement. And that's the good thing about benchmarking right from the start. Because whatever benchmark you use, it will enable you to understand what your competitors are doing, understand what works in your business, get new ideas for improving your business, improve your business performance, identify new opportunities, reduce costs by analyzing weaknesses, to know how to redirect costs and reduce them, get to know your environment better, whether it's competitive, internal, functional, or generic. So yes, if you're just starting out, I'd advise you to do a benchmark. There, I think you know everything. I'll leave you an article in the description to know more about benchmarking and its different types. If you like the video, consider subscribing. It's always a pleasure. And of course, if you have any questions, I'm waiting for you in the comment section below. See you soon for more videos.